Hi, everyone. I'm Janine Yoder, and you're watching Wake Up Wednesdays with Jay. This week is one of my favorite weeks on our weekly episode. It's where I get to talk live with someone in the coaching industry and answer their most pressing questions together. And so today, I'm so excited to introduce you to Amanda Johnson. She is a woman that is currently in Mentor Masterclass. I just had the beautiful experience of spending a whole weekend with her at the Captivate Retreat. And today she has a question that I know many women who run their businesses, whether you're a coach or not, and have any sort of team or are considering having a team, probably this question has come up for you too. So I'm going to let Amanda, and by the way, Amanda is a writer, teacher, and guide in the art of presence and being good with being you. So, welcome, Amanda. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much, Jay, for having me. I'm so honored to be here. I love these shows, and I'm so glad to be on one.
We're so happy to have you on one, too. It's so much more fun to get to film with someone else and talk about the things that are actually up for you, just rather than filming alone behind the camera. So fun to be with you today.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And so here's my question for you. So I have a small team, and I do plan to expand one day soon. And I want to know if I want to take them somewhere gorgeous and soulful and have some really important bonding and creative planning time, what do I do? And how do I keep it from becoming too costly?
This is such a great question because most of us who are entrepreneurs, especially in the coaching world, our teams are virtual. So often we have a couple different members. I think the most common team members for a coach are probably you have a virtual assistant or a VA who lives somewhere else. You might have a social media graphic designer. You might have a project manager. Those are kind of some of the starting out roles. And you work behind your computer screen and through email. And there comes a time where I think you start to consider, I'm so happy that you're mentioning this because what I've come to realize is that our team is such a huge part of our growth as a business owner and as a coach. And especially when you have such a clear mission in your heart and a way that you want to serve, it's hard to bring your team onto that energetic vibration for them to really understand your mission and to get their hearts behind what you're doing together too. So it's not just those annoying tasks or those little fires that you have to put out with technical issues and things. So thinking about doing a team retreat really is how you begin to form that bond together with your team and where they get to come into a real clear idea of what your vision is and feel that they're part of this calling and part of this mission. And it's a space for you to get into the energy of commitment and devotion together so that your work becomes more inspiring and proficient and productivity levels increase. So even though it is an investment to consider, how do I get my virtual team together in person? It's the most valuable investment you can make because I believe once you put this heart behind it and once all the members of your team who are out there, whether it's your copywriter that's carrying your voice or it's your VA who's communicating with your incoming clients, what you invest in a team retreat, being able to form these bonds in person, is probably going to bring you in more money. So that's the first association I want to make, that even though it may be an extra expense to do this, I think it's one that ultimately is a high return on investment for you.
Awesome.
So, but how do we save on costs? And the first thing, I love that you're already thinking luxury and beautiful and how can I make this an incredible experience? The truth is you can create an incredible experience and it doesn't have to be so outlandish, So the first thing I want to offer is if you are wanting to have, let's say it's the first time you're wanting to gather your team together in person and lead a retreat. I know a lot of friends, and I started also by just having it in my home and investing the money in beautiful flowers to have around and setting the scene, but inviting people into my home for our first retreat. And then the second option is obviously to pick a destination that's cheaper. Like you can get amazing deals in Mexico, for example, where it's like an all-inclusive resort. And for what you might be paying your team to work that day, you can be working together in person, just covering a few extra things. So I think the next question that comes up then is, you as the leader and the guide, what should you actually consider paying for? And what are the costs that you're going to accrue if you decide to pull your team together in person? So if you're going all in, if you're making this retreat a requirement of your team, saying that if you're on my team, you must be at this annual retreat once a year or however often you decide to do it, and you want to go all in, you're probably going to want to cover travel, so whatever expenses it takes for your team to get there. You're going to want to cover their accommodations while they're there. You'll want to cover their food during working hours. That means just during the time that you're meeting, you'll probably give them some free time in which you can ask them to cover their own costs. And if you want to include any team adventures that are going to help you bond and get closer or get to know each other better. And then if you're making this an optional retreat and you're just saying, listen, if you're on my team and you feel like you want to be growing with this team and this is something you really want to put your heart into and we want to consider how we might really grow together, you can make the retreat optional and say, I would like to have a retreat and I think it would really help you and your professionalism as a part of my business and mine. You don't have to cover all of those things. So you might consider asking them to cover their own travel to get there, but then once they get there, you're covering everything else for them. So you can see how if you do it in your home, you can save a lot because you won't have to pay for accommodations. Maybe you put them up in your home if you have enough space, or an Airbnb that's nearby can be a really cost-effective way. And then you can cook together or do things that like really save on costs rather than having to go out to eat or go to restaurants, things like that. You can actually have snacks and cook in your home.
Yeah.
So I want to just mention really quickly too that your behavior when you're thinking about leading a retreat is the container of what you desire to be and feel in your business. So sometimes having it in your home or choosing to go to a lower cost destination but having like an Airbnb where you can all stay together, this does save costs, but it also ignites a feeling of intimacy, of comfort, of really being connected with your team. Now, if you want a little more distance from your team and you expect professionalism and structure, maybe you want to be separate. You want to meet at a more office-like environment, or you want to make sure they have their own room and that everyone's taking care of themselves. So when you're thinking about planning a retreat for your team, you want to think about the soul essence of your business and the relationships that you're forming with your team, because your behavior is going to set the container, and the way that you hold this space or the retreat itself is a training experience. It is helping them to feel into what does it mean to be a part of this business. And then I have 3 more tips, Amanda, just since we're talking about the cost. I think it's also the biggest question is, what the heck do you do at a team retreat? You know, what really, how can we organize this? And so I want to share with you 3 tips, and then I'm just going to give you, I'll close with a little bit of a recap of my recent team retreat to tell you how we led it. So the first is, we already talked about, the location sets the tone of the business. So when you're thinking about where you want to have it, whether it's in your home or in an Airbnb or in a luxury hotel, know that if you do invest in that luxury hotel, you're probably investing in your team taking your business as a luxury business. And so that will affect the income that comes and the way that you present yourselves once you're back in your virtual mingling environment. The second is that throughout the weekend, you as the leader model how your team should show up. So if you decide there's no drinking on this retreat, if you decide we go to bed early, if you run the timing very efficiently and you have a schedule and you have tasks and you encourage team participation, or if you're doing most of the talking and leading, this is going to model what you expect in the business throughout the year. So if you want more inspiration and creativity from your team, you're going to want to include that in your retreat. If you want your team to look to you as the leader and you are the visionary, you're going to want to spend a lot of time talking and being the visionary. If you want people to be freedom and flexible, then the time will be free and flex. If you want your team to get stuff done in a timely manner, you're going to want to lead your team retreat in that way. And then finally, any activities that you plan really want to contribute to the values of your business. So if team bonding and intimacy is important, if spirituality is important, if productivity is important, you want to plan your activities and what you're going to be talking about and teaching around your values. So the first thing you'll consider is what are my values in my business and how can I play with those in our team meetings and environment? All that making sense so far, Amanda?
Absolutely. This is great. Thank you. Yeah.
Beautiful. So I'll just close with a little bit of an outline of my last team retreat so you guys can really feel into one example of how it can look. But again, I share this with you just so you can get your wheels turning. But this ultimately, like I said, is more about the tone of your business, your brand, you modeling how you want your team to show up day to day, and then the values that you hold in your business and in your lifestyle. So recently, this was the first year last year that I led a team retreat, and in a couple of weeks, because I'm delivering my baby soon, my business manager is going to come and be with me in person again so we can really talk about maternity leave. So the first time that I did a business retreat, day one was actually in my home. And I had my project manager, my event coordinator who plans my annual retreat, and my virtual assistant here in my home. And basically what we did was we just got comfortable together. I brought some beautiful food and flowers and was really intimate, and I shared my vision with them for the year. And we went over all the things we did last year and kind of covered how did things go and what does each of them desire for the year ahead. So we broke down kind of our systems and structures together. And the whole team got to see what is the project manager up to? What is the event coordinator up to? What is the daily tasks of the virtual assistant? So they all began to see a bigger picture of the business, which was so valuable because then they had more insight on how they could contribute and add value. And also just everyone had a better grounding of all the things that are happening at once in the business. And then when we went into, so day one, I'll just take you through the notes I wrote about it. So we all made breakfast together to start our day off right. So I wanted everyone to be healthy and to take care of themselves, take time for themselves in the morning, because I believe if my team's taking care of themselves, they're going to be more productive. So we worked on nourishment and teamwork by cooking together in the kitchen. And it was the perfect way to kick off the retreat together, taking care of our bodies and then learning how to work together. Then we started to riff on our core desired feelings personally in our own lives and then professionally as women and then as part of a team. So how do we want to feel for ourselves? How do we want to feel in our role in the business? And how do we want to feel as part of a team? Then we talked about our clients and their unique qualities so that we could learn more about and talk more about our clients' needs. So our event coordinator told us about the needs of those women. Our project manager talked about our launch and the holiday challenge that we do, and our VA talked about all the clients that come in, and we really just riffed on who they are and their needs together. And then I wrote a personal manifesto and a business manifesto, and I share that vision with the team so that they can feel into my vision and all the things I'm hoping to have happen over the year. Then we reviewed team goals, values, metrics of success, priorities, and action steps for the year based off of my vision. So we all collaborated on what are the action steps we're going to take, what are the things we're going to have to do to make that vision become a reality. And then we review each goal, we break it down into steps, and we put it in the calendar with a target date for completion. So we use a lot of colored Post-it notes for this part. Then we talk about how we could support those goals and priorities and ideas for each person on the team in a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. And then finally, we wrap up the day with a relaxing dinner together for team building and just getting to know each other and have a little bit of wine and get to know some of the more personal things about one another. And then day 2 of the retreat, so what I did this year was actually, I found that my VA, when I wanted to spend more time with her because she's stepping up into a business manager role. So her and I actually went off to Puerto Rico. So I saved a little bit of money this way because it wasn't necessary for the whole team to do that with me. The first day was enough for us to really connect. And then I spent a little bit of extra money and time for my VA, who's going to be my business manager, and I to go off together. So we went to Puerto Rico together, and then we spent day 2 and 3 doing communication, more deeper planning, and demonstrating of what was going to take place so that she could lead the rest of the team and I could pass off that leadership to her. Mm-hmm. So we reviewed all of the flow of communication with the team and the tools and systems that we use and anything we need to clean up with those automated systems. We made sure that we scheduled in time for the calendar to make sure that everyone knows how to use these tools and what their part is in upgrading them. We did a demo using all of the tools our team needs to practice on and familiarize themselves with. We filmed this and we'll send them out to the rest of the team later. And we set 6 and 12-month personal and team goals together and then really broke those down. And the end of the retreat, I can tell you that I really felt like I knew my VA. I really felt like I understood her and her work ethics. And she got so much more passionate about the business and our clients that I really saw an up-leveling in our communication and in all of our productivity after that event. So that's one way that you can lead a retreat. Wow. And I hope that this really helps everyone kind of decide and understand the importance and then how you can do this on a low cost. So Amanda, I'm curious if any other questions came up with this or how this is landing and what you're taking away from this.
I think it's just incredible. It's really inspirational as well, especially starting out and having a small team and seeing it growing and knowing that this is possible even on a budget. So I think that's incredible. And I think a couple of things that stood out to me, I mean, what you said at the end about your manifesto, and again, just the power that can come from that, and such a beautiful reminder to all of us to take some time to write it out and to be really intentional and then to share it with your team. So, and I love how you had them brainstorm with you how to then bring that into reality. I think that was gorgeous. And I also just love the idea of the intention of retreats in general, of having this ability to take something that's so virtual. Because I definitely feel it myself, getting online and just, pinging back and forth with my VA. And it sometimes does just feel like a litany of lists and tasks of asking her to go do. And it would be so awesome to know that I could really communicate my vision in a much deeper and more profound way, and to be able to build our relationship that way, and also help kind of bring her up and into the folds of it in a much more meaningful way. So I love the idea of writing a manifesto and then being really intentional about why I would be doing the retreat in the first place. So I love that. That's awesome.
I just thought of one more thing, Amanda, while you're talking. The other thing is, if you're not ready to invest in a travel and location, you can always do a virtual Google Hangout retreat, but where you're actually, maybe you send them a $50 gift card. It's buy some beautiful flowers for yourself, separate this day for 8 hours. We're going to hang out on video and see each other. We're going to eat lunch together. We're going to hang out. That's also one more additional way if you're really trying to save money but up level, just creating that time like you said. Because the next time your VA is putting out fires and she knows your mission and vision behind it, there's just going to be this cohesive, good feeling between the two of you that helps you both to feel like you're a part of something and a calling and not just showing up to daily tasks.
Totally. Oh, I love that. I got chills. So yeah, awesome.
Beautiful. So thank you, Amanda, for being with us. Ladies, make sure to check out Amanda. You can see her. She has an incredible TV show. She does weekly episodes, amandajohnson.tv. And I would love to hear from you. I'm sure there are so many amazing ideas about what you could do at a team retreat. So have you led a retreat already? If so, how did you save on costs for that? And what are some of the activities that you did? And if you haven't led a retreat yet, let's set a date. When are you thinking thinking about doing your first team retreat and how are you going to do it. And of course, if you have any additional questions, please share those in the comment section below this video on the blog. Our whole point on Wake Up Wednesday is that we come together in sisterhood, that we stop hiding behind our video screens. And Amanda and I would really love to know that you're here and in this discussion and what's come up for you. So thank you for watching. We will see you next week for our next episode. Take care, and I'll see you soon, Amanda.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Do you want to become a confident and masterful life coach? Imagine feeling completely supported by a brilliant sisterhood while you launch your dream business and attain financial freedom. Mentor Masterclass is an all-in life coach training program for 40 women who are on a mission to learn from the best. You can join Mentor Masterclass at the beginning of any new month while spaces are available. Head on over to mentormasterclass.com to learn more about the training and apply now. And it's a huge reason why people are lawnmowing outside all the while we're filming this show.
That was a car. I think that might have been a motorcycle.